from the county of Murang'a, and all alcoholic drinks traders in the county will from now on contribute towards the rehabilitation of addicts. The county government has imposed a levy on sellers and distributors of alcoholic beverages specifically for rehab. Governor Mwangi Iria said the county spends a lot of money on rehabilitating alcohol addicts, most of whom relapse due to the ready availability of alcohol. Governor Iria says he will no longer use money meant for development to treat addicts, and I want us to now have a conversation with the governor himself. Governor Mwangi Iria of Murang'a County now joins us live by way of phone on the same conversation. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN News Desk. You say that you're imposing the fines, rather, or this amount of money on alcoholic drink sellers for you to be able to use the money you use on rehab for other things. How are they taking this news, the traders themselves?
Thank you very much. I think, Rita, when we talk about alcohol, we are not talking about drinks. We are talking about the labor force of this nation and this county. So when we are talking about alcoholism, we are essentially talking about labor productivity. And I think that's an approach that we need to take, even as a nation, when we are dealing with alcoholism or the subject of alcohol. We can come up with as many economic theories, like as many economic pillars, socioeconomic pillars as possible. But if we don't resolve the issue of labor productivity, then we are nowhere. And that's why we want to really focus on alcoholism. And last year, I kicked off a rehab program whereby I rehabilitated 1,000 young men and women who had actually been destroyed by alcohol. A very, very expensive exercise. As we were doing that, alcohol was still being consumed. It was still being manufactured, and especially the illicit alcohol. So that's why we are saying, I think now the bearer of the profit also need to partake in this game. Because we know there are some mainstream alcoholic beverages which are legally allowed by the law. But they still have their toll on our labor force. So what I've said is that we are going to impose a levy, and we are going to revise our alcoholic bill so that we can be able to impose a levy which will be rehabilitation levy. Because I'm not going to be spending money which have been earmarked for water, roads, and other viable development programs, rehabilitating people who have been destroyed by alcohol as manufacturers continue manufacturing and distributors continue distributing and retailers continue retailing more alcohol. So yes, when I say they said, well, whatever they pay in form of licenses should also be going towards rehabilitation. But I'm saying I am going to now have a special one allowed that. And it's not the issue of how well it is taken by the players in the alcohol industry. It is how deep is going to go in rehabilitating our workforce, our labor force. So yes, it is on, it's coming.
For you to come up with this, it must mean the situation is quite dire in your county as far as alcohol and addiction are concerned. Paint for us a picture. How is the situation in your county? How much money does the county government use to rehabilitate the addicts in the county?
Thank you very much. It's not just about the county, it's about the country, because it's only that I usually come out talking about it much more. So it is not that in Mwangi it is worse than it is in other areas. But I'm concerned, and this is a national problem. Actually, alcoholism is a disaster in this nation. And like, for example, if we want to rehabilitate about 1,000 young men, like the people that I rehabilitated last year, if you go to a commercial rehab, each one would pay about 300,000 shillings for one to go through a 3-month rehab program. So if you multiply 300,000 if you multiply 300,000 per individual by 1,000 people, then you see it's going up to 300 million Kenya shillings just to rehabilitate that lot of people. So what we are saying is that it is a problem, and we cannot hide it. It's a national problem. Actually, it's a calamity. And I even think one of the challenges around this problem is a disjointed approach towards management of alcoholism. We have the national government sitting on one end, pointing a finger at the county government. Then you have the county government pointing a finger at the national government. I appreciate what the Interior Minister is doing, Honorable our good friend Matiang'i. But I think we need a joint program between the national government and counties, because it is not enough. It is not enough for the county government to sit and design their programs, and then the national government does the same on the other end. Last week, I had a meeting with the provincial administration on the same. What I would urge the national government to do is that we create a joint agenda. We don't need a meeting, one shared by Matiang'i on the other side, and the other one shared by the governor on this side. We need a joint meeting shared by Matiang'i and the involved governors, so that we are all walking the same path, because our objective is common. So I think that this disjointed approach is one of the hindrances towards a long-term solution on this issue of abuse and misuse of alcohol.
But do you think imposing this levy, even if this will be adopted by all counties, do you think imposing this levy is the ultimate solution to the addiction problem, especially in young people?
Well, I think the whole thing is complex and requires multiple approaches. So there are many other things that we are doing around alcoholism. For example, we want to reduce the number of bars. I looked at the number of bars which are operating in Murang'a, and there are about 2,000 operating bars. I mean, when we walked aloud, most of them actually have fake licenses, because they just go and fake our licenses. And that's why we have said one of the initiatives that we are rolling out is we are going to have barcodes on all our bar licenses, and we are going to reduce the number of bars by half, because we know the 2,000 which are operational, it's only about might be 1,000 which are licensed. The others use fake licenses, and it becomes now another problem. So it requires multiple approaches. Levy is one of them, because we must rehabilitate those people who have already been affected without, of course, interfering with other socio-economic development agendas and development. But there are many other things. Like I've said, we are introducing this month bar-coded licenses. All licenses lapse in December, and we have not renewed any of those licenses. We said before we renew those licenses, there must be a joint committee between the national government and the county government. Leave alone the already set alcoholic boards and committees. We now have a special purpose vehicle committee to deal with that. So we also have other initiatives like reducing the number of bars. We must slash those number of bars by half. What I've given as a directive is that every small trading center is going to house not more than one bar, depending on the size of the trading centers. But yes, there's no way we can have 5 bars in a trading center which has about 3 shops. I mean, that trading center has only 1 school and 1 church and about 5 bars. So we are going to reduce the number of bars as part of curtailing access. We are also going to impose the fees as also part of making those manufacturers, distributors, and other players in the supply chain of alcohol also understand the kind of mess which they are creating in the society. So it's a multi-pronged approach, and we believe this time now we are going to succeed.
Thank you very much for speaking to us here on KTN News Desk. That is Murang'a Governor Mwangi Iria speaking to us about his intention to champion for levy being imposed on traders who are selling alcohol for the money to be channeled towards rehabilitation of